Hey y'all, and welcome to a special edition of Politburo. My name is Brian, and Senator Kennedy just eviscerates this bureaucrat who wants to add an untold amount of money to our already bloated budget. But before we get to that, I want to give a quick shout out to our great sponsors at Colonial Metals Group. They quite literally have the cure to fight inflation, but more on that later. Now, let's get back into the video.
How soon you think the United States of America will be carbon neutral?
So I think, according to the climate scientists around the world, and certainly the cutting edge scientists that we need to rely on here in the U.S., we've got to get carbon neutral by 2050. And I'm very comfortable with that target, and I think that's the appropriate target.
By 2050.
Which is only 27 years. That is not a long time away.
And how much will that cost?
So the cost that I focus on even more is all the costs that are going to happen if we don't get our act together. How much will it cost to get us carbon neutral? It's going to cost trillions of dollars, and it'll cost tens of trillions of dollars if we don't get our act together.
How many trillions?
I don't have the estimate or the numbers in front of me. I've seen a variety of different estimates, but it's a large amount. Fundamentally transforming our energy economy is a big deal.
Tell me the estimates that you've seen.
I don't have those numbers right on hand.
So you're advocating that we become carbon neutral, but you don't know how much it's going to cost?
So there's an awful lot of estimates out there. It depends on technology improvement and other kinds of things.
You're the expert.
I know with
how much it's going to cost.
I know with the certainty of all the experts I've spoken about, it's cheaper to get our act together than it is to not get our act together on climate change.
Okay, then tell me the cost versus the cost that if we don't do it.
I think it's orders of magnitude different. If we don't get our act together, it's
you don't have a cost. You want us to get there, but you can't tell the American taxpayer how much it's going to cost? Is that your testimony?
It's going to save us money, and there's a lot of jobs.
Well, how do we know if you don't know how much it's going to cost?
I'd be happy to pull up the latest numbers that I've seen.
How about $50 trillion? Is that right?
It's going to cost trillions of dollars. There's no doubt about it.
Okay. If we spend trillions of dollars and we achieve, some of your colleagues estimate 50 trillion, and it disappoints me that you're not willing to give the estimates. I hope you're not telling me you have no idea how much it's going to cost. That creates a whole new host of problems. But if it costs $50 trillion, as some of your colleagues have testified, to become carbon neutral by 2050, and I'm all for carbon neutrality, by the way, how much is that going to lower world temperatures? Or how much is that going to reduce the increase in world temperatures?
So every country around the world needs to get its act together. Our emissions are about 13% of global emissions.
Yeah, but if you could answer my question, if we spend $50 trillion to become carbon neutral in the United States of America by 2050, you're the Deputy Secretary of Energy. Give me your estimate of how much that is going to reduce world temperatures.
So first of all, it's a net cost. It's what benefits we're having from getting our act together and reducing all of those climate benefits. We're seeing.
Let me ask again. Maybe I'm not being
country.
clear. If we spent $50 trillion to become carbon neutral by 2050 in the United States of America, how much is that going to reduce world temperatures?
This is a global problem. So we need to reduce our emissions, and we need to do everything we can.
How much, if we do our part, is it going to reduce world temperatures?
So we're 13% of global emissions.
You don't know, do you? You don't know, do you?
You can do the math. We need to.
You don't know, do you, Mr. Secretary?
So we're 13% of global emissions.
If you know, why won't you tell me?
If we went to zero, that would be 13%.
You don't know, do you? You just want us to spend $50 trillion, and you don't have the slightest idea whether it's going to reduce world temperatures.
Y'all, Senator Kennedy just keeps delivering over and over and over again, and he cuts to the heart of the very issues that are just plaguing us, particularly in our own government, and that's exactly what we want out of our senators. That's what we need in Congress. And what we also need is to welcome in Paul Stone, President and CEO of Colonial Metals Group. Glad to have you on. How are you doing today, sir?
Great to be here. I'm doing well. Hopefully you are.
Yeah, absolutely am.
Good.
So I want to start off with this question. So why are these bureaucrats like that? Why do they come in? They seem to have all this knowledge, and then they just refuse to answer the most logical of questions.
Yeah. they don't have great answers. To me, they don't ask great questions. They just dart off, and someone might whisper something in their ear. I mean, think of this one fact, right? There's 550 approximately congressmen, senators, and representatives in Congress. How many lobbyists would you estimate there are circling Washington, D.C. every day?
Oh, let's see. Given my experience at both Frankfurt and Atlanta, if you could extrapolate those numbers, I'd say it'd be at least 5,000-6,000.
22,000.
Ooh, man, I
So
lowballed.
just imagine how distracted the government is. It just hears all these requests and demands and suggestions, right? And it doesn't ask great questions. When we're talking about this video, you're seeing someone who's ready to literally alter the source of propulsion in our economy, from energy being extracted out of carbon, natural gas and oil, to electricity, but can't tell you how much that's going to cost or where the hell you're going to get the electricity from.
That's a darn good question. For me, I hope we switch to nuclear, but for some reason, like you said, with the lobbyists, they keep on coming back with just asinine green energy policies that, simply put, can't do the job.
Yeah. Yeah. I
It's
read a
it's so
report.
sir.
I read a report once that if every car and truck was electric in this country, it would be the electrical demand equivalent of every single abode, every studio apartment, 1-bedroom, 2-bedroom, 3-bedroom apartment, townhome, home in this country, every abode with 10 refrigerators in it. How are you going to, what, before you start thinking about how much money it's going to cost, how are you going to even create the infrastructure to create that much electricity? And can you? Because you probably can't without burning coal. It's preposterous.
So why do they want these blank checks?
You and I own something. We own giving a good product to the people who are viewing. We own giving them good information. We take ownership of the ground we're walking on. Most of us will pick up trash, right? Or we won't litter, right? We take ownership. The government doesn't own anything. They get their money every year and no one can really hold them accountable. They can't be fired. Imagine if that guy giving that stupid presentation about switching us from carbon to green was fired right there for being so inadequate, to wasting so many people's time to talk about affecting so many millions, tens, hundreds of millions of people's lives, that he came to some boardroom meeting in a corporate world, he would just be fired. So imagine if that threat lived inside of him. He would take ownership of his job. He would do his research. Maybe he had to work over the weekend to come up with a great plan that people could buy into. How do you buy into something that's full of ambiguity? The government doesn't own anything. And that's why it's a horrific ecosystem to lead our lives and make decisions for us and about us.
I agree 100%. Man, that makes so much sense. So in other words, you're saying that the government aren't owners, they're renters.
They're visitors. They're annoying. They're visitors. And they're in charge of your money. This is why I'm in the business I'm in. All I ever say is, look where your money could be. It could be in cash in a safe at home, real estate, in the financial world, or in the vault. Start looking at what these threats are. That's an example of government leadership has no idea what it's doing, but your money is sitting in their coffers. It's your dollar they're destroying as they print money. He was probably going to say, because I heard Bernie Sanders say it once, $90 trillion to green our economy from carbon. Yeah, 90 trillion. 90. That was a Bernie Sanders thing when he was all about this, 5-6 years ago. The Green New Deal. It just needed 90 trillion. Maybe if you could go steal it from another planet. But if we have to print that, the dollar's already worth 2.7 cents at 35 trillion in debt.
So an increase of what is essentially 3 times our current debt.
And you would
that
need
is
it
insane.
In a decade? It's beyond insane. Beyond.
It absolutely is. I'm glad that Senator Kennedy is calling out this ridiculous bureaucrat because of this. Y'all, my name is Brian. Hope you enjoyed this segment here on Politibrawl. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And big thank you to Paul Stone, CEO of Colonial Metals Group. We always enjoy having you on.
Thank you.
All right. Y'all have a good one.